You know, Ms. Dickerson.
There are no issues with this request from the police department or the zoning department.
Any questions on that item from the membership? Item 5 is a resolution for Hoover Mall Limited LLC for the Hoover Public Safety Night. Ms. Peoples, good evening.
Hey, good evening. So on Tuesday, March 18th, the City of Hoover's police and fire departments will host their annual Hoover Public Safety Night, formerly known as National Night Out. This is an agreement between the City of Hoover and Brookfield Properties, allowing us to use the Belt parking lot.
Any questions on that annual event? Very good. Item 6, also Ms. Peoples, is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a temporary property use agreement with iHeartMedia.
Okay. With thousands of attendees in the past, iHeartMedia has chosen to move one of their largest events to Hoover in May. This is a temporary use agreement for iHeartMedia to set up in the parking lot of the Hoover Met Stadium on Friday, May 2nd, and have their event on Saturday, May 3rd.
Any questions on that item?
Can you explain a little bit about the event, if you don't mind?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's called the Magic City Wine Fest, which we've asked them to rebrand since they will be hopefully staying here indefinitely. They have chosen not to work with the city of Birmingham going forward and want to move it here.
Good job.
Any other questions? Mr. Middlebrooks? Very good. Item 7 is a use agreement with the Birmingham Host Committee for the World Police and Fire Games.
So from June 26th through July 6th, the City of Hoover will host several games and competitions for the World Police and Fire Games. This is a facility use agreement between the City of Hoover and the World Police and Fire Games to use the Hoover Met Complex for basketball, the Firefighter Challenge, the police motorcycle riding, which is a rodeo, soccer, tennis, and Ultimate Fighter. They will also use Veterans Park for the Canine Service Dogs biathlon, as well as explosives
Don't
detection.
make it now, you're gonna be short.
Very good. Any questions for item 7?
Mr. President, being this is the police and fire games, and Chief Bentley is the chief of the year, are they gonna have him to do some type of singing? Can we, I just wanna make that, okay, that's good enough.
Any other questions or comments about the police and fire game? Will we have some athletes in that, gentlemen? Excellent. Very good. Item 8, Mr. Miller, is a resolution accepting a grant from the Department of Homeland Security and amending the budget for such. Ms. Cornett.
Yes, this is a grant for $21,850,000 that was granted to the city. It will be expanding the PSC it will accommodate more space for the NCFI group to operate out of. This is a 100% reimbursable grant that requires no match from the city. I'm trying to think what else. I've got some other specifics if you'd like to know what's going to be included in that build-out. 3 35-person classrooms, a 250-person auditorium, 20 administrative offices, some common spaces and facilities. And this renovation is going to more than double the capacity from 3,500 to over 8,000 law enforcement and judicial officials that can come in and be trained in the NCFI facility.
Per year.
Yes. So this is an amendment to request to accept the grant, to authorize the expenditures related to the grant, and then to also authorize the grant administrator to execute any documentation to get reimbursed for the grant.
This is an item that's been on the project list that we receive each week for several months. So I know we're all up to speed on the project itself. Any questions from the members on it?
Yes, Mr. President, for Monday, can we move item 8 and 9 to the regular agenda? Hoover has a lot of great things going on. I'm so proud of all the work everyone is doing. I did have opportunity to talk to the mayor as well too, and he will be given a capital update on the forensic lab center, Alabama Revenue as well, Exit 9, update on the Fire Station 1, and also the Lorna Road property on Monday.
Any other questions about item 8? Item 9 is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a professional services agreement with Lemoyne Company. Mr. Miller.
Very good. Good evening. As we progressed with the design of the NCFI expansion project, we quickly came to the realization that managing a construction project of this scale extended a little bit beyond our in-house capabilities. So we sought out several local companies that provided these services and who expressed an interest in partnering with the city. I want to stress the word partnering with the city. Interviewed these companies, pared that list down, interviewed those again from the shortened list to really kind of determine, looking for who could provide these services that we needed and who would be the best advocate for the city. After comparing these companies closely, deliberating, as a team, we selected Lemoyne. Lemoyne's a good local company that does this work a lot as our program manager to advocate for our needs, and their fee will be paid completely through the grant that you just heard about. So that'll be at no cost to the city. It'll be coming directly through and funded through the grant. So really, all this is asking us to do is that we would authorize the mayor to execute professional services agreement with Lemoyne to officially get them under contract.
Any questions for Mr. Miller on this contract?
Mr. President, just one comment. Chief Durs is, right now, they'll put us at what, 3 federal agencies in Hoover, or I'm off? I know National Resource Officers here, the forensic, and the federal prison. Is that, those the only federal agencies? We've got quite a bit.
We said federal prisons, actually, the federal prisoners that house our jails.
Right. Oh, awesome. Thank y'all.
Any other questions for Mr. Miller? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Item 10 is an amendment to an agreement with Regions Bank for ATM location at the Hoover Met. Ms. Cornett.
Yes, we have had 2 separate ATMs that Regions Bank had on, one at the Met and one at Finley Center for a number of years. We have an existing agreement with Regions that, this does not cost the city any money, but we have an agreement that we're basically going to let them have access to those machines when they need to have them. When we began to do some renovation work at the Met and we started looking at the number of transactions, now that that facility has gone to a cashless facility, we really didn't need the ATM at the Met, and so they pulled it out. And so this amendment is just to go back to having one ATM at the complex, and that'll be at Finley Center. And so this is just a request to allow the mayor to execute that amendment to the original agreement to go back to having just one.
Any questions on that item? Very good. Ms. Walker is here regarding a resolution reappointing a member to the Personnel Review Board.
Yes, good evening. Mr. John Barrett, that represents, that's the Personnel Review Board member. His term expires on 2/28 of this month, and he represents the council.
This is for his reappointment, Ms. Walker?
Yes, as far as reappointment.
Very good. Any questions for Ms. Walker on that item? Item 12, Ms. Dickerson's resolution approving a petition to amend the Articles of Incorporation for Stadium Trees Village Improvement District.
Yes, the board met today after public notice was given and approved the changes for the bylaws. And this will reappoint Jim Massengill as the director of the Stadium Trace Village Improvement District. This will also appoint Zil Zazari, Chris Odom, and Jerry Zager to the district. And it also will reappoint Will Kadish as the, also onto the board for the term ending for 2031.
Any questions on that item? We'll have 2 first readings, Mr. Martin. Actually, no, these are votes, public hearings.
Yes, sir.
Resolution first, granting approval for Family Entertainment Center on Warner Road.
Yes, sir. This is to be located in the shopping center where the bargain hunt space currently is located. And Planning Commission recommend approval to this body with the 3 conditions that are listed in the resolution in your packet. One related to food service, that they have to have it in order to sell alcoholic beverages for on-premise consumption. The second is to refurbish the landscaping in the immediate vicinity. And third, deals with their business hours.
This is a second reading that we've heard once read at our last meeting. Any questions for Mr. Martin?
Mr. President, I don't have a question for Mr. Martin, but I do need to go back to number 11 when we have a moment.
Okay, any questions on 13, any others? Nope. Questions on 11?
The Personnel Review Board, looking at it. Let's see, sorry. On number 3, it says reappoint Jim Massengill as director through November 15th through 2029. But then on number 7, it also says reappoint Will Kadish as a director. So is there more than one director, or who's?
Each one of them states director, so like.
Is that just a term for like board
I think that's the
member?
term for the board
Okay.
member.
Gotcha, sorry.
I think it's item 12, just for clarification. Item 14 is a resolution granting conditional use approval for the establishment of Sticks and Stones cocktail bar. I keep wanting to say Sticks and Stuff. That's a different business. Mr. Martin.
Let's see, well, regarding the stuff, we're hoping that these conditions deal with those items. The Planning Commission did recommend approval with 3 contingencies. One, that any live entertainment be relegated to music performed indoors. The second, that the business offer food service in order to sell alcoholic beverages for on-premise consumption, and that the business hours will end or conclude at 11 p.m. daily.
Any questions for Mr. Martin on that item?
Mr. Martin, can you explain to me a little bit better what this business model is?
Okay, so the primary portion of the business they'll be operating is a cocktail bar, so a variety of drinks and beverages, and the food service component, as it has been explained to us in the application and in the public hearing, is hors d'oeuvres, tapas, that sort of fare, which would designate the business as a food service restaurant in our zoning ordinance. I know that that term sounds a little redundant because restaurants serve food, but in this particular case, that's a specific term in the zoning ordinance dealing with either prepackaged items or a smaller array of food items than your full-service restaurant, which they would meet that classification.
Can you explain to me the mindset of the ceasing operations to 11 p.m. then for a cocktail bar? It seems a little restrictive to me.
That was at the request of the applicant. We asked for him to present to us proposed hours of operation for us to consider, and he is the one that responded that they would be ceasing operations at 11.
So, okay, I guess if they're setting their business hours, I was just confused as to why we would have it on our conditions that must be met then, I guess.
To ensure that they remain as the business owner has proposed them.
Okay, thank you.
If they alter it, they'll have to come back to you guys.
Gotcha. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Martin? Very good. That's it for tonight. We're adjourned.